All right, welcome to the call. Today, we're going to dive into an address given called The Finest Homes. And from this address, it's talking about a home of a natural home, something that you live in, something that you eat in, you sleep in, you raise your family in, et cetera, et cetera. But I want to extract from that we're going to talk about our own bodies, our temples, our physique, and what makes the finest home for the Spirit of the Lord, for our spirits to rest in and commune with that constant companion, that even the Holy Ghost. And to do that, to make that a refined place where that the Spirit can dwell on a high level, we need to have a fine home. That doesn't mean you have to have ripped abs and run 10,000 miles a day or 10,000 steps a day or whatever. But what it does mean is that I love how a professor put it from BYU Idaho in 2014. He said that our bodies are a perfect recording device. So what I'm extracting from that is that our bodies record what we take in and what we take out, what words we give, what words we receive. And when we want to have a fine home on the outer shell, we need to have a fine home on the inner shell. So to do that, it starts with cleansing what Captain Moroni calls cleansing the inner vessel. When the inner vessel is cleansed, then you have access to an outer vessel that is more in tune, and it emanates light better. It emanates, like when you have a fine home, one that is fit, you can run further, you can lengthen your stride. For example, this morning while I was at the gym, I was on the treadmill and I started going faster than normal. In the past, I've tried to maintain a steady pace, but today I wanted to book it, and so I bumped it up from like a 0.7 mile speed to an 8 speed. And I was taking these little steps, just rapidly. And then I thought to myself, you know what? I'm almost 6 foot. I could take bigger steps than this. So what I did is I lengthened my stride and I slowed down, and my heart slowed down, and I covered more distance in less time and without as much work. And that to me is likened unto making a quantum leap in our lives. When we want to jump from one point to another without any extra effort, we need to essentially lengthen our stride. We need to take a leap of faith. We need to not only study His Word, but we need to put it into action. So to have a fine home on the outer, you need to start with the inner. I love the notion that we need to nurture our bodies and our minds, essentially our spirits. Our spirits are hungry. And so often I see in the physical fitness world, people say stuff like, buck up, just go to the gym, just count the macros, and just do what you're supposed to do, and you got results. That's true. That's very true. You put the work in, just like planting a seed, and you get the harvest. But you got to put the work in, you got to pull the weeds, you've got to watch what you eat, you've got to do these certain things. And a man can do that on his own. He can become good, fit, amazing man on his own. But I'm not talking about just being a good, fit guy. I'm not talking about becoming wealthy to have your name on some libraries. I'm not talking about reflecting good like the moon in sense of the glory of the moon versus the glory of the sun. We're talking about changing the inner vessel so that you can radiate good from inside, because the kingdom of heaven is within you. And when you purify your heart and your mind by turning to the Lord, He's going to show you your weakness. And when you allow Him and accept that weakness and say humbly, Lord, thank you for this weakness. Thank you for helping me to see it. Thank you for providing grace for me to overcome it. rather than to back away and say, oh, I'm just not meant to be. Oh, that's not me. Like for me, for many, 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 many years, I did not, I'll say feared. I feared making the commitment to work out every day because it seemed like so much work, so much effort. And what I'm trying to say is that it's not about you. That's what the transformation was for me when I realized it's not about me, which reminds me of when I was young. I lived with my dad and stepmom, and we lived on a small horse ranch. And my stepmom wanted to teach me work ethic, and she did that often with the iron rod, so to speak. And I rebelled against it. I did the minimum that I had to do, which she had phrases that weren't complimentary about that. Like, you shouldn't do a half behind job. You got to do the full thing. And she worked really hard. And I vowed at that young age that I would never thank her. I'd never learn from her, so to speak. But now, in my later years, I look back and I'm grateful for those experiences. I'm grateful for the foundation that laid for my body to build fence, to haul hay, to haul manure, to feed the horses. It helps me build a structure of a sound body, a foundational strength that was able to sustain excess weight for 23 years and now trim down again because I've turned my life over to the Lord. So that's a bit of a tangent, but the reason why I brought that up is one of the things I struggled with building this horse ranch was that it was about building her horse ranch. And what I wanted to do was I didn't want to do that. I didn't find purpose in that. But when I was 18, I learned that I could turn my life over to the Lord. And it wasn't about me building a kingdom. Because at the time I was thinking, oh, I'm going to build my kingdom as a McDonald's franchise owner. But I realized, wow, I can actually engage in the Lord's business and do his work and build his kingdom. Then it wasn't about me anymore. And then it was about him. And now likewise, let's draw this back to the physique. So for 23 years, I carried this excess weight because the doctors told me it's a side effect of the medicine I took. Therefore, it must be. And the times that I got off the medicine, I trimmed down quickly. Within a month or two, I relapsed. So I thought, man, I'm stuck in this. I've got to do this for the rest of my life. But in May of 2023, the Lord taught me that I could turn my physique over to him. He wasn't a 254-pound salesman. He was a fit carpenter. And he took care of his body. And he grew in stature. And because of that, it allowed the Spirit of the Lord to rest in his body and to glorify God. And likewise, you and I, we can go to the gym and do our thing with our own willpower, with our own farm of flesh, and say, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And you can't do that. And you can get a nice fit body. But at the end of the day, willpower only lasts so long. At the end of the day, habits only have so much strength on their own. The arm of flesh will fail. Arm of flesh will die. And if all you care about is this life, then just go do that. Just buck up and just go to the gym. But if you care about not only this life, but in the life to come, if you want to build character, if you want to build a dominion within your soul to control your body rather than be controlled by its appetites, then you turn to the Lord. He'll show you your weakness. He'll show you how to transform, how to change. And then not only that, he gives you purpose, he gives you power, and he gives you strength. And his grace is sufficient to turn your weakness to a strength, just like he did for me. So at the end of the day, what we're talking about is building a fine home. This address that I'm referencing was from 2020 General Conference address, and by Elder Clayton, I believe was his name. I got it right here. Yes, Elder Whitney Clayton. And in this address, he's talking about having a home that's the Spirit of the Lord can dwell in. Well, let's liken that unto our physique. So Jesus is the mark is about putting Christ first in your life. And when you do that, he transforms you from the inside out. And that includes your physique. So many people in our culture, for example, in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we have the word of wisdom. And in that, we're not supposed to drink, we're not supposed to smoke, we're not supposed to do drugs, we're not supposed to do all these different things. But there's no commandment in there that I'm aware of that says, watch your sugar intake. There's no commandment in there that says, watch your fast food intake. There's no commandment in there that says, eat healthy living food so you can be healthy and living. But when you live the basic commandments and you purify your soul, you realize that what the scriptures do say is let all your incomings and all your outgoings be in the name of the Lord. And I'm telling you, eating a candy bar and eating ice cream and eating soda and all those different things, if you're doing that in the name of the Lord, there's a better way. There's a better way for your body to thrive than to eating a bunch of sugar, a bunch of carbonated drinks, a bunch of fast food. Those things are meant to destroy. And for the word of wisdom to kick in, to pass the destroying angel, you need to live by the Spirit. You need to feed your soul the best books. You need to feed your body the best foods and control what you eat, how often you eat. And it's amazing when you do that with an eye single to God's glory. He changes you. He transforms you again from the inside out. So in short, today's short and sweet. The point, the big takeaway is to make Jesus the mark in your life so that he can transform you from the inside out by remembering him always. And that transformation starts with your eyes. When your eye is single to his glory, then he fills it with light. And then you are invited to fill your body with light too, in the form of best books, in the form of prayer, in the form of what you eat, in the form of what you watch, how you entertain yourself. And when you turn to him, he gives you so much. I love how President Kimball put it. He says, at the end of the day, I'm paraphrasing, in the end is what he said. In the end, sacrifice is no sacrifice at all. And what that means to me is that the one thing that we have to sacrifice is the natural man, the bodily appetites, the lust, the gluttony, the et cetera, all these different things that want to distract us from our true character, our true divine nature, to become like Heavenly Father. And when we harness our body and turn into God through Jesus Christ, he will fill our souls with truth and light. And when we allow that to, when we allow the dross within us to be purged out by more light, because where there's light, the darkness cannot be, then he gradually changes and transforms us. So if you're struggling with any of the things I've mentioned, like food intake, et cetera, start with a little thing. You don't have to change overnight all of your diet and throw everything out the door. Just gradually start choosing better. And the more choices you make that are better, the easier it becomes. And then you have the strength to do even more better choices, like a domino effect. And the more you can strengthen your stride, the more your capacity increases, your ability increases, because you're practicing living with Jesus as the mark, the focal point of your life. All right, thanks for joining today. Today's group call here in January 23rd, 2024. Have a beautiful day.